Hello everyone, my name is Larseth, and welcome back to welcome to episode 1 of Places in Warcraft, or Places in World of Warcraft. And for this episode, we're going somewhere that everyone pretty much will recognize. This is Durotar, or more specifically, the Valley of Trials, which is the Orc starting area. So this is probably, for a lot of people, quite a special place in the game, as it represents basically one of the first places they probably ever went. I think the first character I ever made was an orc, and I remember going around in the Valley of Trials, and I mean, I can, like, now with sort of updated rigs, I mean, the computer I was playing on back then was, obviously much worse, so like the render distance didn't go as far as those cliffs, I don't think. But now, you could see it's not that big at all. I mean, look at the map. It's pretty tiny. Which, for me, I didn't really notice that then. I thought this was huge. So when I went out the gates, which are just up here, I was in absolute awe. And I think quite a lot of people could probably relate to that. It was just, like, the place is huge. Like, you don't, like, for a first timer, actually realizing how big this sort of environment is wow, certainly for me, quite astounding. And I remember sort of coming back here and, like, learning all the different ranks of spells from trainers, which is something I quite miss, to be honest, is doing all the ranks. I mean, they were a pain in the ass in some regards. I can understand why they changed it and removed the ranks. It would still be good if you actually had to go back to your trainers and learn spells rather than being given them automatically, though, even if there aren't any ranks. Because, what's the point in a trainer otherwise, other than now to reset? Well, I mean, not even now. I was going to say reset your specialization, but that's another story. But yeah, I remember coming back here, learning all of my various spell ranks. And then we have the den, which is, presumably, where all the little, the young'uns live. I remember, the first quest I think you get is one for killing some boars over here, and I remember coming and collecting all of these cactuses, or the flower, the fruits on the cactus. I specifically remember there's a little cave, the Burning Blade Coven, up here, where that has a load of, little imps and stuff. I remember going in there and getting horribly lost. But ultimately, I remember just how sort of how little I understood how big the world was. And for me, it sort of brings back sort of really sort of warm memories of sort of going back to sort of, sounds really horrible and crazy, but sort of cheesy, but sort of new beginnings in a way, because it is sort of a really sort of beautifully simple zone, and it's a brilliant sort of introduction to the game. And as you'll see when you sort of come out of these front gates of the Valley of Trials, you continue going on into sort of Durotar proper, and it's absolutely awesome. It's awesome. It just is. Like, you come out here, and then, like, already the area here is already bigger than the Valley of Trials, if you take into account all of the little other sort of bits which you can't actually get into. But you're just coming out here and looking out into this distance and seeing how big it is was, for me, absolutely awe-inspiring. And it's sort of one of my fondest memories of the game. So, yeah, that, I think, sort of sums up this area for me. Again, it's an area which 90% of sort of, probably 100% of sort of players who've played for any decent amount of time would recognize and will have some connection to. But for me, this was sort of where it all started. Which is why I wanted to include it as the first episode. So thank you very much for watching, and I will speak to you in the next episode of this series and see where we go from there. I have no idea yet, but we shall see. Thank you very much for watching, and I will speak to you in the next episode. Take care.